I just dug a lot, and I was able to use Greg Laurie himself as a resource for images that I thought were perfect. I love using real historical images to inspire me. I love real stories. And I did my own research, watched a lot of documentaries about Lonnie, about the Jesus Revolution. So that was a lot of my preparation, was being able to just dig up all this history. I love history. It's probably the reason I love my job so much, is that I get to sort of retell a time period and create a world that existed at one time, and hopefully do it in a way that is relatable to modern day, but makes you feel something, that you were there and you experienced it. One of the things that I love so much about filmmaking is collaboration. I think it's one of the most exciting parts of the journey, is getting to work as a team. It's something that I get excited about. And so I got a lot of that experience with Brent, and Brent was really passionate about the story as well as I was. So it was fun. I feel like we did a lot together. And I think also Amy, the production designer, we put our heads together a lot too. I love that experience. It's just, I don't want to feel alone in the process. I love people, and I love experiencing something as a body of people. I think one of the things that I really wanted to do is just creating that world that felt very authentic, that felt very natural, and almost like it wasn't something that was going to take you outside of the story, but it was going to actually invite you into it. So the colors are very warm and inviting. The tone of the lighting and everything just felt very glowy, and there's nothing that we did to, or I hope we didn't do, that took you out of the story. That was really just an opportunity to step into this piece of history. So that was something I think we did well. That's one of my favorite things about the job too, is I love digging up resources. I did thrift stores, I did antique shops, I did estate sales. And so you'll see pieces in the movie that were actually made out of bed sheets from the 70s. I want things to have some history to them. I want them to feel like they are natural to the character. So we used a lot of vintage materials. And so if we built something from a piece of vintage material, we would add more age to it so that it felt like it came out of their closet. And so I wanted everything to have a very nice worn in feel to it, because that was part of telling that sort of warm story, is that there's life that has been lived in these garments. There's a lot of extras. It was so vital to the story, but dressing that many extras in period costumes is challenging. The thing that I kept saying all the time was, I feel the summer glow of California. And that's what I wanted. I wanted everything to have that glow. So with Greg, he was the son of a single mother. And so he didn't have a lot of money. He was in military school. And so that was as refined as you ever saw him. Outside of military school, he was worn in. There was a lot of clothes. He probably would have gotten a lot of his clothes from, a thrift store. By the time you see him evolve through the middle of the movie, he really has come into his own and really has this very natural feel about him. He wasn't trying to be too showy. So a lot of his costumes felt a little bit more natural than most, didn't feel too out there hippie, but he was trying to find himself. I love the character of Lonnie. I just think he's so interesting. Obviously, one of the highlight pieces of what we built was his cape. And when you see him for the first time introduced, you're like, whoa, who is this character? He's a character. He is somebody that's interesting. So we wanted to do that with him. We didn't want his clothing to be loud and distracting. We wanted it to tell a story. We wanted it to tell that he has personified something that he is attached to. And one of the things that you see is that he wears these tunics all the time. He has this sort of natural, sort of, for lack of a better description, Jesus-like, persona, and which is the real Lonnie, he really embraced that. The first time we see him, he is standing in front of his congregation of a very tightly wound people. They're all very put together. They all have their sport coats on or their suits on and their ties, and their women are very coiffed, And I wanted him to be that, but I also wanted him to have this sort of warmth and inviting sort of presence about him. So I put him in this blue suit. And I just loved it because Kelsey has these striking blue eyes. And so I wanted him to feel very much like you were attracted to what this man was on the inside, because there was something more to him than what his congregation was. And then as we see him progress throughout the film, one of my favorites is that I get back to this blue color on him and he's wearing this blue Hawaiian shirt. And I'm like, this is now the fully evolved Chuck. He has completely let it all go and he doesn't care anymore about sticking to some sort of conformity in his congregation. He's given it up and he's free. There were just moments that I think that for me as a costume designer, I get to really embrace a story. And I tell my team all the time, our job is to tell the audience who this person is before they ever say a word. So without words, we need to be able to express who this character is in the way that we present them. We look at someone and we sort of assess who they are by the expression of what they're wearing. So I think it's an important element of storytelling. So for us, it's something we really take a lot of effort to do, is to really be able to go, do I understand who this person is if they never have a line? If they never have any dialogue, do I know who this person is by just what they're wearing? So I think that we put a lot of effort into it to tell the story.